All right, everybody, welcome back. Before us today is an absolutely amazing individual I am proud to know, proud to call friend, and it is Cristie Remmel. I'm going to let her share a lot of her story, but folks, she's a small business owner. She is a veteran of the United States Navy. Hoo-yah, my dad's Navy. So we have a lot of fun there. And, president and founder of the DFW Veterans Chamber of Commerce. Cristie, welcome to the Veterans Ranch Show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me today. I really appreciate it.
Well, why don't we just kind of dive right into it, and let's really kind of talk about your led you up to service. What inspired you? I always kind of say let's kind of take it from like high school on, right? Like when you rode your bike as a kid. So let's uh, let's just kind of talk about what you to join service, be that one percenter that said I'll go send me, and just kind of talk about some of your service from there.
Well, honestly, there's no like ideally um, inspiration. So it was a conversation I had had with my mom. And she told me that I needed a job that was going to support me, a job that I could have my own place, um, be able to travel and just take care of myself, right? Being a female, she wanted that for me. So when I started looking around and I was graduating from high school, and not to date myself, but our minimum wage back then was $3.25 was minimum wage, right? So I knew that that wasn't going to cut it, especially without a college education. And at that time, I didn't realize that I could apply to the university. I wanted to go to the university, but I thought that I had to pay for it out of my own pocket. And I had been in ROTC for 4 years because I didn't really want to do PE. And ROTC counted as a PE credit, right, for each year that I was in. So I knew that I liked the military. I liked the structure. I liked everything about it. I liked the uniform. It was Army, because in El Paso, Army is pretty big, right? They have a Fort Bliss base there. And I also knew that I didn't want to go in the Army because I didn't want to end up in El Paso, which I was trying to get out of, right? So I was like, okay, Army is out. And I started looking at the different services. My senior year, actually my junior year, I started looking at the different services, and I settled on the Navy because I like the dress blues, and I was like, I love black, so they have a black uniform. That's where I'm going to go in. All of the services are. The pay is the same, what is the difference is probably like where the bases are located, right? Benefits are the same. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to choose the Navy. And that's how I ended up in the Navy. And then I got to say that after I joined the Navy, though, I wasn't with the Navy. I ended up with the Marines. So there you go.
Yeah, it's right. And it's amazing to hear. I'm glad you shared that because, for some people it's a family tradition thing, all the way back to their great granddaddy were Marines or, whatever the case might be. Or, they had this, kind of divine intervention of, I'm going to join after 9/11. We heard a lot of people that never thought about military, but all of a sudden swelled with patriotic pride, went down to their recruiter's office. So it's interesting to hear another side of the story of even with 4 years of ROTC that you knew Army wasn't it, but there wasn't that that big thing of big lineage or whatever that almost drove you to the Navy. So talk to us a little bit about because not everybody understands. Okay, she joined the Navy, but she ended up with the Marine Corps. Explain to us how that worked.
Well, when I went and did my ASVAB test, the recruiter basically said, you have basically carte blanche, right? Pick from any job description that you want. And my mom was a nurse, and I knew I liked medicine. I was good in math. I had good grades. So when they said, "Oh, well, you can be kind of like a doctor, right? But not go through all the medical training that you have to do when you become a doctor," and they said it's only a 3 month school, and then you'll be treating people, and that kind of intrigued me. So I knew that my mom was a doctor. She had a pharmacy, and we all helped around the pharmacy. So I already knew a lot about medicine. And I was like, okay, well, I know I can do that very well, right? So I decided to be a hospital corpsman, which is a medic in the Navy, right? And so that's how I ended up being a medic. When I was in the military already, about a year out, my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they gave him about 6 months to live. But I was in the East Coast, so when I went to my command and I informed them of the situation, my dad was living in California because my parents are separated. And so they started the process for what they called a hardship transfer to the West Coast. And I was talking to the recruiter, and he said, "Well, there's a billet that just came open. And prior to this, it was not available to women, but now it is. And it's in Camp Pendleton, California. That puts you close to your dad." My dad was in LA. And I said, "Okay, well, whatever, I'll do it, right?" So they said, "All right, so you're on board, you're good to go." And I said, "Yes." I really didn't even know what I was getting myself into. They just said I had to go through a 3 month school again. And I said, "All right, I can do that." And it's in Camp Pendleton, California. I didn't realize it was a Marine base, you know. So because at that time I was thinking, I just want to get to California to be close to my dad, right? So I was like, okay. They sent me the paperwork. I signed it. They gave me my date to report in California, and which was very fast. But my dad passed away before I even got to California,
Mm.
and then you're kind of stuck, right? So my dad passed away, and then I reported to Camp Pendleton, California, and then I was like, what did I get myself into? This is not a Navy base. It's a Marine Corps base. And so, but at that point, you have no choice but to go through it. So I ended up in the second cohort for females. It was a billet that was open for female medics to be stationed with the Marines. And there were only three of us, three females, that went through a company of 80 male medics. And we were told from the very first day that there were going to be zero concessions made just because we were women. So we had to pass all the physical standards according to the Marines, and everything that we were required to perform. And if not, you were going to be washed out and sent back to the Navy side. Well, when I first joined the military, for me, I decided that failure was not going to be an option, and I was going to do whatever it took to make it through. Right. So I knew that that was my mentality going into the military. So when they said that to us in our medic school, our cohort, I was like, okay, well, I will do whatever it takes to pass. So whatever it is, I will do it, and I'm going to pass. And
Oh,
that's exactly
absolutely.
what we did.
Real quick, I don't mean to cut you short. We're going to take a quick break here real fast because, we got to pay some bills. I want to dive deeper into that because a lot of people, we hear a lot of things nowadays about how they do change standards and things of that nature. So I want to dive deeper into that, with you. So just real quick, today, folks, this first break is brought to you by Veterans United Home Loans. If you are a veteran and in need of a home loan, you need to reach out to our friends at Veterans United Home Loans. They are the nation's number one lender, number one VA lender. Let me be real correct with that. So go today to veteransunited.com, see why more veteran home buyers choose Veterans United than any other VA lender. Again, that is veteransunited.com. If you're a veteran and you're looking to buy a house, check them out today.